Hey everybody, it's Andrew Brown from AWS Cloud Project Bootcamp, bringing you another video. And this time we're going to be doing something. I can't remember what we were doing last, but I know we were working on implementation of features. So let's go get this application running and trying to get this application done because we are we are sure taking our time to finish this application here. So what I'm going to look for, I'm just going to turn my audio a little bit down. I was doing a podcast, and so my audio might be a little bit louder than usual. So hopefully that resolves that issue there for you. But I'm going to do a compose up. I'm going to get this application running, run my database, and I'll be back here in a second as we work on week X, the last week of our bootcamp. Okay? All right, so Docker Compose is up. What I need to do is run that database there. So we'll go do a bin db setup, and we'll set that on up there. Okay, and let's go see if we can see our application and figure out what the heck it is that we were doing last. I know that I want to implement the message button, so if I was to sign in here, we'll just go ahead and attempt a sign in, capital T testing, 1, 2, 3, exclamation mark here. Yeah, if we go to our profile here, I do need to see data from another type of user. I really should create some seed data in here so we don't have to constantly create new data here. I'm going to go update my seed data here and see if I can do that. So we'll go here into our seed, and I'm going to scroll on down here. I'm just going to copy this and then paste this on in here. Whoops, allow. And so do we need to do this twice? Probably not, because we can do multiple values here. I think we just need to place a comma. It's been a while, so insert multiple records rows, insert multiple rows into PSQL. I don't know why, I just can't seem to remember. Yeah, it is just a comma. That's what I thought it was, but I just wanted to be 100% sure that it was correct. And so I'm just going to take this off here, and then we'll put this here. And we should have a handle here for Alt Brown. So I'll just go ahead and paste that in. So I am the other. Okay, and so that way we'll have two records. It's just because I don't want to have to log in, log out to get access to that. But for the time being, I'm just going to go ahead and use a DB Connect and connect to that and just insert that into the database. But next time we start up, we'll have that record to work with. That's something you always have to be working on, is making sure you update your seed data so that it's reflective of whatever it is that you need to do for whatever. So I'll put a semicolon on that, and so that will insert that record there. I'm going to go ahead and delete this out, so that's all fine. We should probably have a semicolon on the end of this because that's technically the end of that statement. Sorry, just a bit of coughing there. And so I'm going to go back over here, give this a refresh, and hopefully on the home page I have two records, because I need to click into the other person so that I can see the alt. And I remember we're having issues with the replies. I was complaining about the values here, which make no sense because we do set it as an empty array. This is more of a React thing that I'm not sure what's going on here, but if we scroll up or scroll down, I know we put some console logs in here for the replies prop. And so it's showing as undefined, which is frustrating because it definitely passes as an array. That's what it's being set as. So I'm not sure why it's doing that, because it doesn't happen for our activities feed, but maybe what we can do is we can trick it somehow. I don't know. Say just if props replies. I'll just try this, see if that will fix that issue. And well, this is if it doesn't exist, right? So if this does not exist, it is not being nice here. Anyway, it's supposed to take an array. So let's see what we can do to fix that, if it's even possible. I know it's kind of a pain in the butt. So let's open up our profile page. Profile show, or it's user show. What is this page called? I can't even remember what it's called. I'm going to open up pages here, and it is called probably user feed. No, this is the show page of an individual one. This would be activity show. Okay. And in here, we are passing in the replies here. And if I scroll up, data.replies. So the data is being set here. All I can think of is that maybe the data being returned is empty. So what we could do here is maybe console log out the data. And just say data here, and we'll give this a refresh. And maybe that's what's causing the issue here, if it's even getting to that point. So we go up here and we see DD. I'm going to expand this object. We have, oh, it's showing it as, well, that's fine. Activities and replies. So replies is empty, which is totally fine. And down below here, we have a different problem with activity item. Props.activity.handle. So yeah, there's something funny going on here. This is showing an array. This probably isn't supposed to be an array, and maybe that's the issue, is the data structure. So what we'll do is we'll go over to wherever this is being called. This would be in our backend for, I'll just navigate manually. I can't remember anymore. So we'll open up the backend here. We'll make our way over to services. Sorry, I got a cushion to sit on. And in here, there should be show activity, user activities. What do we call this? Show activity, there it is. And so the issue here is it's doing query array JSON, but it's actually just supposed to return an object. And that's probably what our issue was. We'll give this a refresh here. And if I scroll up or down, I'm just trying to find where that data is being logged. It's not logging it this time around. Try this again. And it's still not logging our data unless we remove that. Maybe we did. I'm just moving so quick here, I'm not even sure. In the here. Oh, I guess I removed it. But anyway, it looks like our issue is not happening anymore. We are getting a different error, so that's good. Something with the on click or something. An A cannot appear as a descendant of an A. So there's an anchor within an anchor, and that's what it's complaining about. But that is about the activity content that it's complaining. So we'll go take a look at that. So we'll check activity content. And it's saying there's some kind of anchor in here. And we have links here. But then we have the external link. So what are we supposed to do there? Because that is actually how it works. So let's go take a look at Twitter and see how it works. I'm just curious, like, is it anchors? Is it clicking? So if I hover over here, okay, nothing. Hover the name, it shows a link. But if I hover on the back here, it's not showing an href, okay? So, I mean, I would prefer if it had the URL, but it's true, you can't really embed URLs within URLs. We'd have to apply some kind of trick to do that. We'd have to open up activity item here. And what we need to do is take this link and not have it here, but have it inside of this and then position to the back. It'd be very complicated. So what I'm going to do is, instead of having a div, there is a way that we could get the hyperlink in there. I think it would be better, but we'll just have to do an on-click for this because there's really no other way around this. And we'll do an on-click. And we'll just say click here. And we'll just have to make a new function here. So let's just say const click equals this. And we'll say event. And we'll say event prevent defaults. And we'll say return false. And so what we want to do here is redirect it in this case. So I'm not exactly sure how we do that. So we'll say router DOM. React router DOM. Function redirect. I'm not sure what the name of the function is. We actually haven't had to do that at all. So the easiest way is to do an href. I'm just not sure what it actually is for this. Let's ask ChatGPT because I don't want to spend all day looking for this. Let's say GPT-4. how do we using an on-click event, we want to change to a different route for React Router DOM. Okay, let's see if we can figure that out. Okay, so it's trying here. Is that really how we would do it? It just doesn't seem like that'd be the correct way, but I guess we can give it a try and see if that will work. So what I'll do is go up here, and instead of link, whoops, I flipped over here. We'll do use history. And then what we're doing is we are going to make a constant here. And then we can push our new route. So we'll go here and place that here. And what we want here is whatever this is. So we'll just go ahead and grab this. I'll paste that above. Constant URL. So URL here. And then we'll just take this 2 off. And so maybe that will resolve our issue here. Again, I would rather it be an href, but we'd have to do a lot of work to make that happen. So we'll do that maybe in the future. Use history is not a function. Well, I don't know to tell you. We imported it right there, but maybe there's something ChatGPT doesn't know that has changed. This add listener is not being used anywhere. I don't even know why we have it in there, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. But yeah, if we go back over here, it says use history is not a function. So I'll go and look this up. So use history is not a function. That's the beta version in version 6. Use history is replaced with use navigate. So that is our new one. So we'll go ahead and do this. And yep, very similar. Because right now, ChatGPT is not using the internet, so it's not doing this in the most intelligent way. Go over here, make sure that is correct. I'm not sure what the dispatch is for. I don't know how to use that, but hopefully that's enough for that to work. We'll go back over here, give this a refresh, see if it likes that better. It seems like it does. We'll go ahead and click here. Notice it's trying to push to navigate, says it's not, however we're using is not correct. So let's go back down here. And it's just a function. That's what I thought. We're not pushing onto anything. So we'll go ahead and change that. Now, the thing is that it's not showing us that it's even clickable. So we'll need to go and update the CSS here, probably because it thinks it's a tag. So we'll go here and just switch that out as such. And we'll just change this when it's clickable. So clickable. And all this text decoration, that thing doesn't even matter anymore because it's not an A tag. So we'll go here and take that out. And I mean, it really depends on, we'll put this back in when we need it, but right now I'll just change that. Go here and just say, I don't know if that will work. Problem is, they'll make everything, even the children, that. So it's a bit misleading, but anyway, we'll go here and see if that works. Well, we'll go back over to our home page, and then we'll click this one here. And so, yeah, that is now working. And I think now we don't have that that error anymore. We do have a 403 on our images. That's totally fine. We'll go make our way over to replies and get rid of some of that logging so we can see what we're doing. So we'll go here, delete this one out. That one is pretty much what's being repeated. Requests has one in here, so we'll go and look up requests. And we have a console login here, right there, so we'll take that one out. Give this a refresh. And now we can see what we're doing. Okay, great. So this right now is actually the status page, but it's just saying home up here. What happens when we click into one? Let's go take a look here. Back on Twitter. So we'll click into here. And so it just shows the tweet at the top and just says tweet. Now ours are not tweets, they're CRUDs. So we'll go over to activity show, wherever that is, down here, and we'll look for the word home. Where are you, home? Should say, there it is. And so we'll just change that to CRUD. It's also supposed to have a back button in this case. So I guess I never really coded a back button. Where would also go back to is the question. Probably their home feed. Well, that one goes to the home, but how does it know where to go back? So if I click into someone like here, and then click into theirs, does it know where to go back? Yeah, it does. And I mean, we could do that, I suppose. That's just knowing the last href. There's like JavaScript for that, but so that's rendering that there. I'm going to check this again here. Is there a difference here? The key difference here is that it does render more information, like the exact time and the views. We don't necessarily have views in here, but the exact time, I wouldn't mind to see that there in a more human readable format. I'm also wondering why our time is totally off here. If we go back up here to the top, -224 M just must be how I coded it. The C data must be wrong, because I know we already fixed our time zone issues. Plus 10 days, so go 10 days in the future, which that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, does it? It would probably be like minus instead of plus. Well, I guess if that expires, that makes sense, because it would expire in 10 days. But anyway, there's something weird going on with the timestamps there, so just be aware of that. But I think when we make a new ones, they're fine. Is this correct? Go ahead and hit CRUD. Oh, the times are off. What is going on here? Don't know. Maybe we never fixed it for our other ones, but we'll have to watch that, because I don't really want to see that incorrect. So anyway, what we're trying to do is click into here, and now we have an individual CRUD, and we don't want this to be hoverable in this case. So we'll go to activity item. Honestly, we could just duplicate this, and I'll just say new file. We'll say activity item expanded, like extra.js. Because this just has extra stuff in it, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to distinguish that from the other one. I guess the other question is, like, if these actions are here, could we even put it right under there? I think we could. So what I want to do here is, I'm not really that not sure. Maybe what I'll do, I really don't like doing conditionals too much in components, but we're going to do it anyway. So here, we'll just make conditional stuff here. I wonder how we could do this, because this is the contents of it. So I can go here, and we just say const activity main. And then I could do parentheses around here, like this. Okay, and then here I have my activity main. And I want this to be conditional, so if it's if props clickable equals true, then it's going to do this, otherwise it's going to do that. Or we could even say expanded to suggest that it's an expanded version of it. Say return here, parentheses probably on this. And then I'll just do an else on this here, like this. And so this one, class of expanded, if it even makes any sense. And this one will be left alone. Actually, we could just put this on here as such, like this. That would make more sense. Single quotation may be missing here. Or this curly shouldn't be here. There we go. And then what we could do is assign this to content. So I'll just say constant item. We're going to say let item up here. And that is here. Otherwise, we'll do this. Okay, and then I can do that. I'm not sure if it'll let us do that, but we'll give it a go and see what happens. Give this a refresh. Are not valid a React child. It must be render a collection of children or an array. So yeah, it's complaining because it's annoying. So I guess I just want to have conditional attributes. How to have conditional properties on a DOM element for React. e.g. only have an onClick in a different condition. Okay. Well, I know what an if is, but show me how you do it. I'll be back here when this finishes generating, okay? All right, so let's see if we learned any new React here. So what it's doing is it's placing, oh yeah, you could just make it a JSON object and expand it. And so that's the way we're gonna do it. That makes a lot more sense. So what we can do is go back down here and expand this as such. And then we can bring this over here. And that looks a lot better. It's okay if we do it like that. And, well, now we don't really have to conditionally do our activity item. Okay, we can just put that right back in there. And so what we're doing is whatever that splat was, looks like that. So curlies and then triple dots, okay. So I'll do attribs here. And, yep. Whoops. And then it'll just be class name equals activity item. But it's just going to be based on the conditionals here. So now what we can do is do this instead. Otherwise, on click equals click that. Okay, and so I think that will then give us the conditional that we want. Right now, expand is not being set, so we'll see what happens when we do this. If it complains, apparently is complaining. Maybe there's something wrong with our returns here. Oh, there's this thing up here that's junk, so we'll take that out. There we go. And so by default, it is clickable, or it should be anyway. If expanded, else do this. Can we see what's being rendered out here? I don't know if it would show us the onClick events here on the activity item. Like it's there, but it's not just like, it doesn't show literally a property called onClick. So I'm clicking this and it's deciding not to work, but we are actually in a CRUD, so that makes sense. If we go back up a level here and we click into here, then yeah, okay. So this one's supposed to be expanded. So I'm gonna go over to, back to activity show page here. And for our activity item, wherever that is, EL activity, it's up here. We'll just mark that as expanded. So we'll say expanded equals true. Hopefully it'll just take the that value as such. Seems like it's complaining, so I'll just maybe do it this way. Refresh this here. Okay, and so it should not really have this hover effect on it. And I just go expanded here. You know, to make our lives a little bit easier, I might just set it the other way here, so unexpanded. Clickable. So go here and just say clickable. Clickable. And then by default, it'll just do the behavior that we want. I think. We'll go back over here. Yes. We go here. Why it's showing this as clickable here, I don't know, because we did apply it only on this one. So not sure why the pointer's mucking up there, but I guess that's kind of okay. Yeah, why is it doing that? Activity main. On this one right here. I never saw this one though. Back over here. So it doesn't show us what file this is in, which is kind of frustrating. It's almost suggesting that it's this line that's doing it, but it's not. There we go. I guess it just wasn't taking effect. So now it's working as expected. So that's great. So yeah, when you do click in, it would show more information like the timestamp there. So we'll go over here and click into this here. Yeah, it shows the exact time in that format. So let's go ahead and grab that. I kind of like that format. So we'll go over here and this would be in between. So expanded meta. We'll say let expanded meta here, and then you know, if props expanded is true, we'll go ahead and paste this in here. This is the format that we're looking for. I think we're using Luxon, right? So we'll go here and say format date time in Luxon to this format. I really don't like Luxon. Its DSL is not very good, but it is the replacement for Memento. Yeah, so that's the format we're looking for. I remember I refactored this out into somewhere else. Maybe I did not. I don't know. Let's open activity content and take a look. JS. Yeah, the time formats are right here. I could have swore I could have swore we abstracted these out and that they weren't written in line like this anymore. Maybe we just did it for the messages and we didn't do it for activities. Let's go take a look. Message.js, message item. Weird. I definitely remember us refactoring this, like for sure, we definitely refactored this. But still showing this older one. That also explains why the time zones are messed up. Let me go take a look and see if I can find the code, okay? Sorry, I'm back. And so yeah, we're trying to get this format here, but I noticed that this is not what we want. So let's go take a look and see if we can go find that over at GitHub, because it's definitely, I definitely refactored that like 100%. And so we'll go over here and we'll go to here. And I'm just trying to remember what branch where we would have done that refactor. I remember it was around DynamoDB, so probably week 8 again. Because remember, I merged these branches, so if I merged the wrong branch, I could miss out on some refactored code, which would be kind of annoying. So I'm going to go into here and see if I can find it in week 8. You know, you should already have this code, but this is a problem for me. So I'm just going to see if I can find it here. So I'm just looking here for, let's see, message item here. Did they get rid of the nice convenient click? I guess people must have not liked that refactor, because at one point you could search here when you clicked into files. So yeah, maybe they didn't like that and they reverted it. But hey, it was working really good for me, so can't say for everybody. Oh yeah, it's right here. Just look activity item. JS and see if that shows up here. Or activity content, I should say, or message item probably is a better one. Yeah, so it's still showing this old one. I'll go find it, okay? I'll be back in a bit. All right, so I found it was actually week 5, and so here it says, week 5 time zones, and we definitely did fix those issues. I'm not sure if I could just merge this in and hopefully get my changes. So I'm just going to go here and just put WIP. But it definitely is in the, if we go over here into my week 5 again, time zones again branch, I believe it's called. So I'm going to give it a go and try to bring those changes in because I want to have the right time zones. So we'll go make a new pull request here. I'll go week 5, time zones again. And this will be into week X here. Yeah, I don't expect it to automatically merge, but I'm happy to try to resolve some of these conflicts. Yeah, let's go ahead and try this here. So we'll say create pull request. Create pull request. And then we want to resolve the conflicts here. I can't do it in line anymore. What happened? They're too complex to resolve in the web editor. Oh. Use the command line to resolve it. Okay. Well, how do we do that? Okay, they want me to do it this way. Git pull, git merge. Yeah. All right. I was hoping for it, but I guess not. So what I'll do is I'll just close these out here. I'm going to do a git merge or git checkout. Go back over here. Yeah, git pull origin week 10. But we don't need to pull that one, but we do git checkout this one here. Git pull. Git checkout week X. Come on. Hey. What are you doing? Okay, that's great. All those things are updated. That's not what I did. I don't know what it's thinking here. And then we'll say git checkout week X. I don't know what the heck it's doing. All right, I'm going to have to close this. Stop workspace. That was not fun. I guess I could just manually bring them in. It's not like it's a lot of code, but it is a bit frustrating here. So I guess I'll just launch this again and then manually copy and paste the code over. Sometimes it's just not worth the hassle of trying to figure it out. I would like my Gitpod button, please. Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and launch this again. And I'll go into week 5 here, and I want to see the files that have changed. So yeah, it's mostly some of these things here. So that'll be a new file that we'll need to have here. We'll go back over to here. I'm going to go, again, you probably don't have this problem, so I'm just going to fix it quickly and get the proper code in. I'll be back in a second. I'm just going to implement it because there's no reason you should have to watch all this. You're not going to have this problem. All right, so that wasn't too bad. I placed it all back in there, and maybe now our seed data will look a little bit more normal, but yeah, I did have to manually do all that work there. So I'll go ahead and just say, add back in the time zone fixes. Okay, and I'll just start up that application and try to do a seed. So I'm just going to compose up and then do my DB setup. And I'll see you back here in a moment, okay? All right, let's try to do our setup here again and see if it just takes. Okay, and I do have an error, so something did not work there correctly. Of course, it wasn't just going to go perfectly smooth. But the issue it ran into here, syntax error, 0 interval. I did paste it in there, and so maybe it didn't do a correct paste. Go down here below. Yeah, why is that 0? That doesn't look right. So we'll go back over to here into our seed.sql. I mean, I didn't change anything in there, so I'm not even sure why that's there. So that must just be a small little bug. But everything else ran okay, so I guess we'll find out when we look at the application here and if the data is reporting correctly, but we don't have initial post by us, which is not that big of a deal. The page isn't rendering out, so I'll go here. Oh, right, because I left that line there. That's what we were working on. So if we go back into our activity item, Jess, I believe. Activity item here. Yeah, we were just in the middle of this, so I'm just going to comment this out. Okay, we'll make our way back over to our Crutter application here. Close out some of these older tabs. And so it's totally fine because we need to log in. So we'll go ahead here and log in. And we'll sign in. We're now into here. I'll go ahead and make a post. And so it's looking a little bit better. I'm not sure why this is off like this, but this is May 30th. So this is activity item. It's possible we placed the wrong one in here. This all worked before. So if we go into activity content, this is format, date, time, and time ago. Created at, expires at. Let's just make sure we copy pasted that correctly in there. I remember spending so much time on this, and I can't believe I'm back doing this. But we have the expires at, which is up here. And the created it down below, which is here. Format, date, time, time ago. Format, time ago, date, time. So, I mean, this looks correct in terms of how I'm supposed to implement it, but why it's messing up is another thought there. It's showing it in minutes and it's in the negative. That's really odd. We'll go over into our JavaScript here. And the one that it's showing here is the time ago. So it's having an issue in the time ago. And what's confusing is the fact that it's rendering in minutes when it's clearly a high number, but I think it's because it's in the negative and that's its problem. So for whatever reason, when it does the diff, it's like it's in reverse. Now, future. So, I mean, I could just flip this here. And that should give us a non-negative number. And that's probably what it's supposed to be, but why it's doing that this time around. Notice it's now created up here, so it's less of a problem. See, now it's displaying this one correctly. This one up here is, I'm not sure if that's correct. So this is negative 2 minutes ago. That's when it should be destroyed. That's when it was posted. But noticing it's flipping it around the other way now. Yeah, I'm just trying to think about why that's happening, because one is in the past and one is in the future, right? So time ago would be time ago, but one is time future. And so I think that's the problem, is that we actually need another function here. So we'll go down below here. We'll say time future. And this one was fine, how it was. And I guess that would actually be the past. Whereas this one is actually going to be the future. Okay, and so maybe that will resolve our issue there. And it was just like an oversight. I'm not thinking about it too hard, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Time, future. And created at would be the actual ago, and the expires at would be the future. And let's see if that resolves our issue. Value is not defined. So we'll go back over to here. Somehow we introduced a spelling mistake. We'll just go ahead and fix that. And so now it's displaying correctly. So that's what we needed there. So what I want to do is click into here, and this should be rendering out, but we clearly have a JavaScript error. So go into here, and I'm seeing a 403. Oops, a refresh. Failed to fetch. This wasn't a problem before, so why is it all of a sudden a problem? Terminal. We'll go ahead and go to our logs and give it an inspection. Our migrations are supposed to fix that. Maybe because our migrations don't run part of our setup. DB setup. Migrate. I can't remember if we ever got it to work correctly. Printing 4 always looks wrong to me, but we'll go ahead and refresh that. And it's still not working. Same problem. So we know that if it fails, it doesn't actually technically report it to us. So if we go into DB Connect and we say select all from activities, or just even just describe activities, it's still showing it as an integer. So let's go take a look at our migrations. Maybe it's showing like us old migrations. We're in week X, right? Like I'm not in the wrong branch, am I? Open context. Yeah, week X. I just remember us doing this just recently. I guess it really just depends on what we forked when we made this branch. But let's go take a look at our migrations here. Under AWS, or backend Flask, migrations, and this one here. Yeah, and it alters it and then it drops it. So that should work. But what I don't understand is why it ran it twice. Oops, I don't want to do connect. I meant to do a migrate. Try this again. And noticing it's running the codes 4 times, which is really confusing. Because there's only 2 in here, there's no way it could run 4 times, and it's doing it twice for some reason. These migrations are kind of getting annoying, but you know, once it's working, then it should be fine. It's just here. Print file time. Oh, it's because it's printing both of these, and that's why it's confusing. So if we clear this out, and then we hit up, it doesn't run anything because it's already ran all the migrations. So it was just iterating through that. That was just misleading. And so if the migrations were running, it would have ran this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just drop our database, bin db kill all. And then I'll do bin db setup. Maybe it errored out and that's why it didn't work. I'm going to open up setup. Again, I can't remember if we run migrations after here. We do, so it should run the migrations. And it is adding the biotext field, as we can see here. Add bio field, but it doesn't run the next one, which is interesting. So it runs one, but it doesn't run the other one. And so, you know, if I expect to do migrate, I should expect it to pick up the other one. It doesn't run it. So It really is this stupid thing. You know, again, it's just these if else's, and you have to really think about the comparisons correctly. So let's carefully look at this. So we have migration files, and so if it matches, which it does, so if successful run is less than the current time equal to now, then do this. So I'm just going to go up here and say print last successful time. And let's do F here, curlies, successful run. So I can just see that here is that time. And then we'll just go here, run. Let's put an F on this. I mean, obviously it's not running it. All I want to know is like what it's comparing against. So what we have here, I don't know how this got open here, but yeah, what we have here is the last timestamp code. And so if we go over back to our migrations, this one is 16844665027777772. And so the last successful run was this time, 168486. So maybe it's newer. It's hard to look at these codes. I can't really make sense of them. I'm going to go here, rename this, bring this over. And I'll bring this one up here. This is the new one. So I think what's happening is that when it runs it, it gives it the new timestamp, but the problem is that then it stops running the other ones because it's comparing against all of them. So this in general is just defective because what's happening here is that it's using it's setting the timestamp, but always as the latest thing. So the way we're going to fix that here is when we set the last successful run, it should really be not the current time, but the last one that it ran. Because that way we'll then not run into that issue. So the timestamp should be this one here. And so that'll fix your issue. Now, we don't need to return any value here, so I'm not sure why I did that there. Or actually, no, we can put that in there just in case it doesn't set it every time. Sorry, no, that is right. But we'll take this out because that doesn't make any sense. And so even if like we have ran in the future, it's going to run it for the last successful run for the current one. And so maybe that will fix our issue. I'll have to go, again, go down, and then we'll say setup. And so this time I'm hoping that it works. And so now it's running both of them. So that fixes our migration issue. So, you know, should correctly migrate. So just another issue that we ran into that was overlooked. Now we did do a kill all, and that messes up the Docker compose, so, or the connection for the backend. So I'll do a compose up, and when it's back here, I'll see you back in a second, okay? All right, so this is now running again. It's because we disconnected and we reran the data here. So what I want to do is make sure our application is working. But it was great that we fixed that little bug there. I still have the dot length on that. Maybe it's because that status doesn't actually exist. So we'll go here. This is probably poor error handling on our part. And yeah, we'll click in there. Yeah, so that's what it was. And so now we are seeing an individual message. We don't have a back button in here. We should try to go put one in here. So I'm going to go over to activities. Whoops. Activity show, coffee or JS, JavaScript. I like CoffeeScript, so that's why I said CoffeeScript. But if we go here on the left-hand side, into our front-end application. JS. Okay. We'll scroll on down. And what I'm looking for here is, where it says CRUD. Right here. So what we need is we need to have a back button. So I'm going to go here and say link. I wonder if we can do that. React router DOM link to previous page. I wonder if they can do that. Navigate -1. So that's what we can do there. It'd be nice if it was actually a link. Yeah, it looks like we can only do it that way. So, or there might be another way, but I don't know. We'll go ahead here and paste this in. And actually, I want the back button, so we'll go. Now, we should really bring in an SVG for this, but I don't think I have one for this. So if we go into SVGs, yeah, I don't have a back, so I'd have to go bring that graphic in. I'm not going to do that right now. We'll just make that be whatever it is for now. We'll just go up here or back over here. I'm going to go ahead and grab this here. Do we already have navigate on this page? No, we do not. So I'm going to go here. I'll just paste this in. And we need to import that use navigate. So I'm going to go here and say use navigate. I'll go back over here, give this a refresh. And so now we have this back button. It actually looks like a button. Is it a button? Is that what we set it as? Oh, we did. That's why it looks so funny. I'm just going to make it a div. I really don't want it literally to be a button. I think that's a bit silly looking. I'll just say back. And then we can go all the way to the top here, and I'll just click through this. Apparently we don't have any styling on here, so I'll just do back. Font size 24. Background or color RGB 225, 225, 225, 0.5. And we'll put an A on this here. And then we'll do background or color. And we'll just make that full white here. So just a 1. This one needs a comma here. We can just even put 0.5 on this because that doesn't make a whole lot of sense if we do that. What else? Yeah, cursor pointer probably is what we'd want on it. We should probably put some padding on it. It makes it a bit easier to click if we put some padding on it. Let's see if it likes that. Okay. I'm noticing that this is an inline. I would have thought this would have had a flex on it. It doesn't, which I'm actually surprised. Activity feed heading. And yeah, I'm not exactly sure where to put this. I'm just going to put it here, and people can complain about me just dropping CSS randomly places. So we'll just say display flex. And here I want to expand the title. So say flex grow 1. And we'll say flex direction row, because that's the way it goes. That might also be the default, but I'm just going to put that in there manually like that. So it's getting a little bit better. And I'm going to just say align items center. Might be middle, I don't know. I always forget. Nope, that's what it is. Okay, that's fine. Not the nicest looking thing, but it does work. Over here, we don't really need the padding on the top, so I'm just going to take that off here. The first 2 values, I believe, is the top and bottom, so we'll go ahead and do that. There we go. That's a little bit better. I'm just going to put 16 on this. Maybe just make this a little bit larger here. There we go. Great. And so that should take us back. I hope we don't run into a case where there is no back. Because, like, for instance, we could... What is going on here? That's really messed up. What happened? So we'll go and inspect this. Something is upset. So what happened here? This is absolute. It could be because we changed the way the activity feed works. So I'm just going to put a word like flex on this one here. Okay. And then what we'll do is go over to activity show page. And we'll look for where that is. And I'll just say heading, or sorry, flex on this one. And that might resolve that issue there. Okay, so that's back to normal. Why there's not a default image here, like a color here, I'm not sure why. I'm trying to find this here. Where is this? Yeah, it says a default background image. It doesn't have a default background. So we have profile heading here. Go profile heading. CSS. And I'm just going to put a background color in here by default. I'm just going to say foreground for that. Oh, that looks a little bit funny. There we go. So I know there's no image there, but that's what we'll do for the time being. But anyway, so now we can click through into this. We should see our replies here. So I'm going to go ahead and say, I am going to reply to myself. Okay, and we hit the reply. And if I give this a refresh, does it render the replies? It does, but it doesn't show it right there on spot. That's just the way the functionality works here. So if we go over to activity show page here, EL activity item, because we had like a way of pushing it. I think it's the replies form that we're looking for. Reply form. And we had all this logic here, right? So the thing is that this is very conditional based on what page we're on. And so I think what we could do is put a flag on this. And if it said like, you know, props, you know, push to replies, then we could then execute this stuff. Okay, and then it would do whatever this code is that was doing it before. So go ahead and do that. But for this to work, we would actually have to have the replies. So maybe if we did replies, you know, so if we said if replies, if it's set, then it probably is something that we can push upon. So then what we'll do is open up the activity show again here. And in here we have the replies form. So I'm going to go look for that. And I'm going to pass replies. I think that's what it is here. It could also be set replies. And if we go up here, I believe, yeah, we have a set replies. And so that would be the way that we could go ahead and do that. We might also have to pass replies in as well. I'm not exactly sure how we push to that. I always kind of forget. We did do this once with the activity form, so maybe our activity form can tell us how we did that. So in our activity form, when we submit, it does this. That's what we're looking for, is this code here. I just don't know if it needs both the, yeah, it just uses current. So we do only have to do is pass that set replies. So we'll go ahead and grab this. And so this will really be if set replies, then it should push that data onto there. Now this is putting it in front of it. I need to attach it to the end of it, so we'll do that. Or actually, no, I think your replies show up at the top, don't they? I don't think they show up at the bottom. So yeah, hopefully that will do what we want it to do, and passing that in is no problem. We'll go back here and give this a refresh. And this is the one we want to reply to. And yeah, it pasted it here. So it is doing exactly what we want it to do. We did want to render this out a little bit different. So I'm going to go into our reply form here. Or not a reply form, our activity item. Activity item. There we go. And I wanted to finish this off here. So we had ChatGPT open with the solution, I believe. And this is the format we were looking for. And so what I was doing before was looking for that date time stuff. And I'm just going to say export function activity time. Well, hold on. What does it look like here? I mean, that time is pretty good too. I think we could just use that. We don't have to create a new one for no particular reason, and we'll just bring that format date time in here. So I'm going to go over to activity content. Let's grab this whole line. We don't need the whole line. I just want some of it. I just want this here. And so what we can do is take this. And then for this, we have props, activity, created at. Expanded meta is more so about that additional information that shows up here. Yeah, so only in this case should we show our expanded meta. So what I'm going to do here is say expanded meta equals this. Bring this here, and this will just say that there. We'll need to spell this right for this to work. Okay, and then we'll go back here. Hopefully there's no errors. It is there, so that's great. It's not really aligned with our avatar here. Let's go take a look. Why it doesn't show us an avatar is another question. Yes, it doesn't actually have to show it in line. What's interesting is that when we're here, it shows it up condensed, and then when it's down here, the message is actually below. I didn't even notice that. So we do have a little bit of difference in the way this is formatted. So I guess the question is, could I easily do that with a CSS change? The idea is we really do want this to look different so they know that it's a, that's what it is here. I'm not sure why this is not clicking through. It should happen on all pages, the click-through. There must be some kind of error because it normally would click through. I'm gonna give this another refresh. This is not supposed to be doing this. It's supposed to, when you hover over it, I don't understand. We changed this stuff already. Why am I having to do this again? We had this where, you know, it would show an underline when you hovered over this part. And this would be clickable. Oh, we're on Crutter.com. Okay, that's why it's all messed up. Sorry, me being silly. Don't get your domains mixed up. If I click into here, we want to bring this one down only in this case. And so if we go here, let's take a look. Does it accommodate that setup? Activity meta. This is expanded meta. And so that's the content. Yeah, and so this is where we almost kind of want a separate item. So yeah, I didn't know if we'd have to do this, but we'll just say activity show item JS. And so now we'll just go back here and copy the contents here. And we'll paste it in here as such. And we'll rip out the expanded stuff because we don't need that logic anymore. That doesn't make any sense. So we'll go ahead and take this out. The click would still be on this one. We don't need to do conditionals anymore. It's just going to be this here. Sorry, this here. Okay, I'll leave that in here just so that we have that as a nice example. We don't need expanded meta. That doesn't exist anymore here. So that's now reverted back to how it should be. We'll go over to our new show page here. This one would be the expanded one. And the thing is, we'll just use the same CSS file to make our lives a bit easier for now. But we'll go here, and we don't have an on-click event, so that's gone. So we can get rid of this. The navigate, I don't know if we need it here, probably not. This now is just inline code, so we can go down here and paste this here. And we don't need to use navigate here. And so this one's a little bit different because we have activity content there. Let's go take a look at our activity content, see how complex it is. Yeah, so there's a lot more going on in here. So I mean, I pretty much want this to be very similar, but the key difference here is that a part of this, where the message appears, is going to get moved because I don't want this in the message block. Now, we could have just modified this and pushed it along, but again, I don't want to increase the complexity to a point where we don't even know what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this here. Also, what's interesting is that we have the expires at, but why is this conditional? Oh, only if it actually is there, because if we're using it as a comment, or sorry, a post, we wouldn't necessarily have that for those, so that makes sense. But what I'll do is I'll just copy this here, and we'll go back over here, and I'm going to paste this in the content area. Where's the content? Right here. So we'll go ahead and paste that in like that. And I know it's a lot, but that's just how it's going to be. I don't think the indentation is correct. Activity content. Because I don't see the content wrap. I'll bring this in one level. Yeah, it's a little bit confusing. Going back over here. Yeah, did I get all this correctly? Hold on, let's go back again here. And so there's this, and there's this. I'm gonna just make sure I grabbed it all correctly. And yeah, it looks like it actually messes up the indentation when I paste it in. That's why we had an issue there. So that shows that there now. That's probably the right indentation level. Let's go back here. It needs to still go in one more. Okay. And so the message now appears outside the content. Oh, this gets messy. And so, you know, you could spend a lot of time with this. That's the content wrap. Yeah. Anyway, so we changed it to that. I'm going to go back to activity item show. Where is this? This is where. Yeah, we don't have the content anymore. And, well, actually, hold on. This is just being changed to this. Well, hold on. That one's out. That's the show item. We're looking for activity show item, activity show item. And then we'll go down below here. Show item. Okay, so that's now in there. We'll go back over here, give this a refresh. And we have link is not defined for activity show item. Where is there a link? Probably right here, that's right. So we'll go up to the top here. Maybe we have a link somewhere here. There's a link. Time ago is not defined. Oh, because this is everything that's in the content. So we'll just go ahead and grab all this stuff here. That's what's going on. And we'll go back over here, give this a refresh. Expires at is not defined. Yeah, it's supposed to have the expires at in here, so I can go ahead and just grab this code and we'll just place that in line where it's supposed to be. Refresh that. Okay. And yeah, it's rendering out a little bit different, but that's understandable because our code is a little bit different. So I'm going to open up the CSS here. And if it's expanded, we're going to just have some different logic. So I'm going to go to the bottom here. We'll just say activity. I can't spell that word, so I'll go ahead and just replace it. Expanded. And there's a few changes we need to make. So the first is this identity has to have a grow, and it already has a grow on it, so I'm not sure what the problem is here. I think it's because this has a space in between, and so this really should grow as well. Say grow, like flex grow 1. Activity content. Yeah. We have the avatar here. So this is a little bit different. This is now more like we should put the avatar inside of this here. So really, it's like these 3 things are supposed to be in here. And then that makes a lot more sense. And then I can go back and refresh this. That kind of messes it up just because of however the order is here. So I'm just going to look for the avatar in here. Avatar. Profile photo, maybe. Not sure why it doesn't show up. Activity avatar right there. Maybe because this is like activity content. Activity content. Where the heck is the styling for this? We just had it a moment ago and it was a different level. We'll just move that up back there for a second. I just want to see where that styling's coming from. Or there we go. Put that back there. Where is this coming from? Activity content wrap. Yeah, so it's within the content one. That makes sense. Okay, so again, I'm going to go ahead and take this and move this back over to here. In the activity content CSS, I'm just going to modify that slightly so that instead of it caring where that is, why does that matter? All I did was take it and move it over there. Why wouldn't it work there? Go back and refresh this here. And if I go back and I inspect this, all those things are still applied. but it's not display block, I think is our issue. Display block. Yeah, so that's the reason why it's not working. So I'm going to go back here and say display block. Display block, maybe. I just want to make sure that's not breaking the other ones here. Yeah, those ones are fine. We'll click into this one. That one's like that. That makes sense. So what's happening here is that we want activity content in the context of expanded to then do flex. This is how you end up with complex CSS. But yeah, so we have that there, and what's it complaining about? Anything? Well, I'm going to put rules here in a second. And I'm going to say display flex. And so maybe that will then put this all in the same line. There we go. I want to have activity identity. Do flex grow on that. Flex grow 1. I thought I already had it on there, but we'll do that again. We'll go ahead and inspect it because it seems to be upset. This one already has a grow on it, so that's not the problem. The meta here I don't think is the problem, unless it's the space between. I don't think it's that. This one here is kind of acting a bit funny for some reason. What's the problem here? Why is it doing this? Take the padding off here. I'm trying to figure out what its problem is. Because it has a flex grow 1, so it should expand to the full size. I mean, we could say width 100%. 100%. Nope. I think it's this flex start here that's probably causing it. Nope, it's not. But yeah, you can see how you can really get into the weeds with this stuff and spend a lot of time trying to solve it. But notice it's like ending there. It's not going to the end. The other part is like the other one's not expanding for some reason. And this has a flex grow 1 on it. Flex meta. Like width 100%. I don't know. So we could be playing with this all day long and supposedly get it to work, but you know what? I really just don't want to fiddle with styling. This is stuff that should have been already done. I just never had it fully implemented yet, but the point is that it's functional. So let's focus on that and worry about the styling later. You know, if you want to fix it, you can go ahead and fix it, but I'm not going to fiddle with styling here all day, okay? So we do know that that is clicking through. So let's just focus on some of our other actions that we want to hook up. So I'm going to go ahead and just make changes here. And the stuff that I want to hook up is things like the repost, the heart, stuff like that. All right, so let me just think about it, okay? You know what? I think I'm done. I think I'm done because I feel like all these little features here that we had here should have been implemented at the start of the boot camp. And it's not that any of these things are hard. It's just that it's going to be time consuming. And I just know that it's going to drag on for another week and a half. And if I had all this stuff implemented, like the cookie cutter code here, we could focus on the APIs and using something like Memento and stuff like that. So I would just say that I think that we kind of set out to achieve what we wanted to do from the cloud perspective. Is the application in the best working state? It needs a little bit more work, but it technically does work. I think that we took care of the most problematic areas, like making sure you're not being able to reply or to post as other folks. But there is some stuff here that is obviously left incomplete, like the trending. We never did search. We didn't have to do search. Like if we go to the profile, it should really show the other button. But these are all things that are left for you to do, or things we'll clean up in future boot camps. But I really do think that this is where we need to park it. The only thing that we need to do after this is just make sure that we deploy everything to production. So we are going to have one more video here, and that will be to make sure that production is up to date with whatever we have here, because that's what you're going to need to do in order to submit your work. There obviously will be more videos. I'll need to make more videos outside of just that, because I need to show you how to do submissions. But we're going to park it here, and we're going to say good job to both of us. If you made it to this point, you basically got all the code in that we need to have for submissions, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, ciao.